The Galactic Council had grown accustomed to silence during their deliberations. For 3,000 years, the assembled species had conducted their affairs with the measured dignity befitting civilized beings. The crystalline Zephyrians communicated through harmonic resonance, the gaseous Nathari through chemical emissions, and the mechanical Cognitus through data streams. All methods were efficient, logical, and above all quiet. Then came the humans. Ambassador Keiko Tanaka stood before the vast amphitheater, her small frame dwarfed by the towering representatives of 100 worlds. The council chamber, carved from a single asteroid and suspended in the void between stars, had never hosted such an unusual species. Bipedal, carbon-based, and possessing the strange habit of expelling air through vocal cords to create what they called speech. The motion before us, intoned Council Prime Zix Thera, her triangular head shifting through prismatic colors, concerns the human request for military assistance against the Devourer fleet. A ripple of disapproval passed through the assembly. The Devourers were an ancient menace, machines that consumed entire star systems to fuel their expansion. Every civilization learned the same lesson. When the Devourers came, you evacuated and mourned your losses. Fighting them was suicide. Esteemed Council, Keiko began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic design. Earth has been designated as the Devourer's next target. Our analysis indicates they will arrive in 47 days. The hegemonic representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with what humans might interpret as sympathy. We grieve for your inevitable loss, young species, but the mathematics are absolute. The Devourers have consumed 14,000 systems. None have survived contact. With respect, Keiko replied, that's because none of those species were human. The statement hung in the recycled atmosphere like a challenge. Several council members exchanged what passed for glances among their species. Elaborate, commanded Zix Thera. Keiko activated her holographic display, showing humanity's brief but violent history. We are a species forged in warfare. For millennia we fought each other over resources, territory, ideology, and sometimes simply because we were bored on a Tuesday. We've turned conflict into an art form. The display showed ancient battles, Thermopylae, Stalingrad, Iwo Jima. Then it moved to humanity's space age, the brutal suppression of the Mars Rebellion, the asteroid belt mining wars, the three-way conflict around Jupiter's moons. You celebrate violence? The question came from wise minds swimming in deep currents, one of the aquatic oceanic delegation. We celebrate victory, Keiko corrected. But more importantly, we've learned something your peaceful species never had to discover. There's a difference between being destroyed and choosing destruction. She paused, noting the confused emanations from various council members. Every human child learns a simple truth. If you're going to die anyway, take as many of the bastards with you as possible. The chamber erupted in harmonics, chemical signals, and data bursts, the galactic equivalent of shocked gasps. The concept of deliberately choosing mutual destruction was foreign to species that had evolved beyond such primitive impulses. 3 weeks later, the Devourer fleet arrived at Earth. The Council watched from their safe distance, recording what they expected to be another tragic but predictable harvest. The human fleet that rose to meet the Devourers was pathetically small, barely 300 ships against the Devourers' 1,000-strong armada. But as the fleets closed, something unprecedented happened. The human ships began to sing. It started with one vessel, the flagship Indomitable, broadcasting what their databases identified as the battle hymn of the Republic across all frequencies. Soon, other ships joined with their own battle songs. We Shall Overcome, Fortunate Son, Sabaton's The Last Stand, and dozens of others. The cacophony should have been chaos, but instead it formed a symphony of defiance that echoed across the electromagnetic spectrum. The Devourers, machines programmed for efficient consumption, faltered. Their protocols had no subroutines for this behavior. Prey was supposed to flee or fight in desperate silence, not broadcast what could only be described as joy in the face of annihilation. The battle that followed violated every tactical doctrine in the galactic databases. Human ships didn't retreat when damaged. They accelerated toward Devourer vessels, their songs growing louder. The Valkyrie rammed a Devourer dreadnought while broadcasting Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries. The Alamo detonated its reactor in the middle of an enemy formation while playing The eyes of Texas. Most shocking of all, it was working. The Devourers, faced with an enemy that treated mutual destruction as a victory condition, began to withdraw. For the first time in galactic history, the ancient plague turned away from a healthy system. As the survivors of both fleets limped away from Earth, Captain Sarah Chen transmitted her final report to the Council. Her ship was venting atmosphere and listing badly, but her voice carried the same inexplicable human quality that had somehow turned certain defeat into impossible victory. Council Command, this is Captain Chen. The Devourers are in full retreat. Recommend updating your files. Humans don't just fight wars, we throw parties for them. In the council chamber, Ambassador Tanaka stood once again before the assembly. The silence that had once seemed so civilized now felt hollow. The vote, she announced, is on humanity's application for full council membership. For the first time in 3 millennia, the vote was unanimous. The void was no longer silent. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, humanity had taught the galaxy a new song, and it was a song the Devourers would never forget. As the council session ended, wise minds swimming in deep currents approached Tanaka privately. Your species, the aquatic being said thoughtfully, chooses to sing while dying. Why? Tanaka smiled. Another uniquely human expression that had begun appearing in xenobiological texts. Because, she said, if you're going to die anyway, you might as well make some noise about it. The galaxy, it seemed, was about to get much louder.